deciding factor. The question is, which side will they back?
So what you'll do with the people who said, we are ready to die? You'll kill all of them? As I said, maybe before, the people were afraid. They don't want to go, to the jail or prison. They don't want to be injured or killed. But this time, really, the people, and especially the young people, they said, this time is something else.
Actually, I don't have faith in them. After the bloody Thursday, we don't want them anymore. At the first, we were asking for correction or making everything better, but now we don't want them. I think that open fire on his public, he don't deserve to be a king anymore.
يلا شباب يلا يلا شباب يلا. This is one of the victims. This is police and Al Khalifa government. They said they want dialogue. This is dialogue. Tell Khalifa and Hamad, this is dialogue. They are liar. They are not liar. They are killer. They should go away. No chance.
The protesters are marching on state-owned Bahrain TV, complaining about the biased coverage of their campaign. Abda Ali Al-Singas, in his blood-soaked shirt, cradled a dying man in his arms. As a result, he's more desperate than most to keep people on the streets, to sustain pressure on the regime. The worry among protesters is that if dialogue is accepted, it will drag on. International attention will shift elsewhere, and in the meantime, those that spoke out will be targeted. And this isn't Egypt or Tunisia. Behind the bland exterior gate is a security force that is not minded to change sides. If the system doesn't change, and if past performance is anything to go by, these protesters, who have put their heads above the parapet to challenge the regime, will be in serious jeopardy.
Well, what would happen if this revolution didn't work? I think we're gonna be destroyed with all means. I think they're gonna target one by one. Whoever appeared on a camera, the thing is, we stand brave enough to call the whole world that we don't want this regime to be in power anymore. So I think they have enough evidence. Whoever speaks against them would be a target for them in the future. So I think it's gonna be really dangerous. And I believe it's all about win or die.
And that's it for this edition of People in Power. If you'd like to comment on this film or anything else, then we'd love to hear from you on aljazeera.net/English. Until next time, goodbye.
Afghanistan is faced with a huge challenge.
Relations have gone really sour between us and our allies.
We have inflicted considerable damage on the enemy.
The people who make international headlines.
Ultimately, the truth will out.
They want to stop this publication of information that embarrasses them.
Make time for Sir David Frost. Frost over the world. At this time on Al Jazeera.
As protests, violence, and the call for political reform spreads across the Arab world, Al Jazeera's in-depth coverage of events on the ground brings you the news as it breaks. Ongoing coverage of the Libya uprising on Al Jazeera.
A history of guerrilla warfare, a place on the global stage. The PLO gaining strength, their revolutionary zeal knowing no bounds. But did a series of violent acts by their splinter groups damage the Palestinian cause, or ensure its survival? Chronicling the turbulent story of the struggle for a Palestinian homeland. PLO, History of a Revolution, at this time on Al Jazeera.
From local traders to international finance, it's commerce that makes the world go round. For global companies and developing markets, communication is the currency, and information is the most valuable commodity. Counting the cost at this time on Al Jazeera.
Libyan rebels retreat from the oil town of Ras Lanuf as Muammar Gaddafi's forces step up their assault. Hello, I'm Laura Kyle. This is Al Jazeera live from Doha.
This is our country. We will never ever give up, and we will never ever surrender.
The Libyan leader's son warns of an all-out assault to crush rebel fighters. Also ahead, Saudi police open fire as protesters gather. The call is out for even bigger rallies on Friday. And anger in the US over plans to curb the union rights of public workers. International pressure is growing on Muammar Gaddafi and his government. Other Arab Gulf states have now joined many Western countries in their condemnation of the Libyan regime. And the battle for control within the country is intensifying. Gaddafi's forces have launched new counterattacks in key rebel-held regions. Al Jazeera's Tony Bertley sent this report from Ras Lanuf.
Confident and determined, the opposition fighters in Ras Lanuf prepare for a fight against the might of Gaddafi's forces. This was a day that their resolve would be put to the test. A soldier implores his brothers not to waste their ammunition. Save your bullets for the fight, he pleads. That fight was just a short time away. Midday prayers in the battle zone, and the anxiety is plain to see. Away from the bravado,